Welcome back to the show that lifts the lid off life inside one of Wales's fastest growing cities. This is Inside Newport. Coming up in episode 4, the big splash hits the city, Discover Newport looks at Goldcliff and the borrowed lands, and Artport checks out an environmentally aware theatre act. First off, Carlton James checks out some of the latest news and trends in the city.
Newport City Council have agreed to back a £12 million redevelopment plan for the Newport market. We now go to speak to local traders and see their thoughts and feelings on this matter.
The project, led by the company behind Cardiff's tram shed, is still at an early process, subject to planning.
Well, I think of anything positive in the market, we're waiting for something like this for a long time. And what we want is some positive attitude. Simon comes across as a businessman. He's done a lot of very worthwhile projects. There's many questions. We still have a long way to go. We were just told the initials last night, a positive meeting, all looking forward, because the market, at the end of the day, this is a Victorian market. It's one of the best markets in the country.
Well, it's going to be hard for whoever trades in here, really, because you've got to alter the mindset of people, who go shopping. They haven't, they're so content in going into these supermarkets. They don't know what they're paying for the articles they buy. They just go along and saying, "Oh, I need one of them. I need one of them. I need one of them." They're not worried about quality. They just go by the advertising brand from the television, I think.
Cabinet members agreed to grant a 250-year lease, with the council to receive 15% of the rental income.
Basically, I think it's fantastic news. I think it's really great news for the market, but also on a wider scale, it's really, really important for Newport. For a long time now, I think we've been saying that the tech hub in particular, that the ideas that they've got around that are massive. There's a massive hole in Newport for that. We're losing a lot of really good people, I think, because there's none of the kind of startup, entrepreneurial, high quality office space.
It's good, but they need to keep this floor as a market. I know they're talking about 3 or 4 floors they're going to do up, but this needs to be kept as a general market because it's in the middle of the city and that's what people expect. It's still a market, it's been here hundreds of years.
It's great that they're refurbing the market and investing in it. I have a few thoughts, such as the toilet should be inside the market to encourage footfall into the market and people get to see the stalls. I'm not sure about the flats upstairs. Perhaps that could be space that could be used for more trading. But all in all, it sounds great.
A political process called Brexit has dominated our media for over 2 years, and some would say has divided the nation. We now take to the city and ask people what they think of the current Brexit scenario.
As far as I'm concerned, we should have got out straight away. I think all these politicians who've hemmed and hawed about it, they should have said we should have got together in the beginning and we would have had a better situation. They wouldn't have dragged on so long. Instead of messing around, they should have all joined together. We had the vote. It was you said for getting out, so they should have got together. They should do what we asked them to do. Not
all the news and everything is taken on, and it's all it's done is confuse everybody.
I think it's all a load of rubbish. To be honest, I think they're lying, and I think they're just telling us what we think we want to hear. But I don't believe them at all.
You only have to look around the streets of Newport and the streets of Great Britain to realise leaving Europe is the best thing we could ever do. De Gaulle wasn't a fool when he never let us go in there for 30 odd years, and when I voted to go in was for free trade and nothing else. But to see Britain, shall we say, demoralised by becoming something a Federal Republic of Germany, because Europe is run by Germany, okay, and the Yanks, they want to see us out. I think Trump would wholeheartedly support that. But I think when Cameron left, he only wanted to go one way, and that was to stay in Europe. Therefore, Plan B wasn't there.
I think it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. It's I voted Remain, and I stick by that. And I think it was such a close call at the referendum. They should really have redone it. And I know a lot of people agree with that. So.
In recent events, Newport City Council have passed a motion on banning begging in the Newport city centre next to cash points. Carlton James takes to the city to ask, will this work?
It just highlights the fact that homelessness is a major issue. It is, on the other hand, very intimidating when a number of people come up to you and are asking for money all the time in whatever you're doing. They come up and it can be very intimidating.
Particularly so outside supermarkets, because they know what car you've got out of, and you can't help but feel that if I don't give them any money, I might suffer a bit of damage.
Well, it's quite difficult anyway being on the streets, but now they're bringing out this sort of thing. It just makes it a little bit more difficult. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some of it is just common sense. You know, not sitting by a bank, things like that. You know, not being in obstruction, things like that. What I do agree with is their view of aggressive begging.
I don't think it's right that the council are not helping them. There's too many homeless people on the streets. Why can't the council help them? There's thousands of houses empty. Thousands of houses. Why can't they help them? Yeah. You know, and with them being at banks. Personally, one of my friends a couple of months ago went to the bank, a homeless person robbed him of 150 quid. It's not fair.
I find it very offensive when people literally grabbing hold of you. I'm money. Well, I haven't got money. I'm disabled myself. I'm partially disabled. I've got 2 shattered discs in my spine.
Yeah. I really don't like that. You know, people going up to people, demanding cigarettes or coming out with some lies and I'm trapped here and this, that and the other. I need £30 to get wherever. You know what I mean? There's no need for it. If you're just honest with people and just be, basically just be honest and just be like, yeah, I'm on the streets.
The annual Big Splash event, hosted by the Riverfront Theatre, sees theatre and arts take to the city centre. Carlton James and Aaron Thomas went to the city to check out the event.
We're here at the Riverfront Arts Centre, home of the Big Splash 2018. The annual event saw 10,000 people in 2017. Now, this event showcases arts, theatre and crafts. Now, let's go take a look and see what 2018 has got to offer. We're here with Stacey Marie in the Big Splash 2018 event. So Stacey, how's the event been for you so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. There's been a lot of people here. Yeah.
Now we're here with Pete. Pete, what is the contraption behind us?
This is what we call VR Playground. It's a combination of playground swings and virtual reality technology. So it's the brainchild of an artist called Brendan Walker. Brendan unfortunately can't be here today, but he's a former aeronautical engineer who's designed this as part art, part science. It's a beautiful project. Fantastic.
So Sally, how has the event been for you this year?
It's been great. I think everybody now knows what it's about, really, so they know what to expect. It's the second year that it's changed, so it's a lot more street theatre focused. We've still got loads of activities and workshops, but it's just been, everybody seems really happy. I think a lot of families are really pleased that everything's free. So, the henna, the face painting, the glitter, it's all free, because otherwise bringing children out can be really expensive, so it's great to be able to offer that
Have
to
a free platform.
Yeah, definitely.
The event saw 4 areas of the city centre take part, with directions to areas via a free map.
Well, I'm doing a clogs session today, so clog dancing. I'm going to teach a couple of simple steps. And the first one is walking, okay? Right. But when you walk, there's 2 noises for each step. Back first, then flat. The next foot. And then backwards, it's the opposite. Front first, then back. Front, back, front, back, front. Not bad. And then just relax more and go quicker. Yeah, you got it.
It's like having a jog in here.
What about?
Okay, we're here with Megan, a member of the public. So, how are you finding this?
I found this really interesting and a family experience, because it's fun for people to come out and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
So it gives them an experience to go and have fun and be free. So.
Okay, perfect.
What do you expect when they come down, say today, to catch all the events?
I think if you just wander around and just enjoy the whole experience, really, I think it's got a lot for everybody. So you're getting street theatre, but might get dance, comedy. You know, there's some really poignant, smaller pieces that you might just happen against, as well as some great workshops, great activity, and just have a bit of fun, really.
The acts and performers weren't just Newport based. The organisers brought in acts from across the country.
We play Afro-Brazilian percussion of a lot of genres actually that span the whole of Brazil. So it's all percussion based. Big sound on bass drums, lots of small handheld percussion. And we do a lot of festivals and carnivals. We parade outside. We make quite a big loud noise inside as well. I don't know if you heard that earlier.
It's a good festival for everyone, families, groups, all sorts of the local community. Basically, it's what I would consider as probably the biggest festival, summer festival that is, in Newport.
Increasing popularity of Rise propaganda, Carlton James went to check out this movement that's making strides in the city.
The creative-based movement called Rise Propaganda has seen a large surge in followers in recent months. The artist called John Frost remains elusive, but Carlton managed to catch up with David Daniels to explain more.
So we're here with David Daniels, and David, tell us about the most recent Rise event in Newport Market.
Okay, so I suppose you're talking about the launch event. Took place a couple of weeks back up here in the gallery space. I think that was it was a Rise event, but actually there was probably three different things going on that night. It was the launch of Tiny Rebel's new lager, Rise. Lovely it is too. It was also launch of this place, the Chartist Workshop, and this is an ongoing project arranged by our Chartist Heritage with Heritage Lottery funding. We are producing a graphic novel that's going to be coming out around November time, around the time of Newport Rising Festival.
The recent bolsters to the movement, like collaborations with Tiny Rebel Brewery, has helped gather momentum.
It was great. Yeah, I thought it was really exciting. Everybody seemed to be a buzz about the whole thing. A little bit cheeky, I suppose. But I think ultimately it's about bringing attention to Newport, shouting about some of the good stuff that goes on here, promoting the art, the creativity that's going on. And it was great to see so many people turn up at this event.
Discover Newport's second episode looks at the age-old fight the city had to keep the Severn Estuary at bay. In episode 2, we look at Goldcliff and the borrowed lands.
When you think of reclaimed land from the sea, you think of the Netherlands and their battle with the North Sea. But 2,000 years ago, this patch of land was a saltwater marsh regularly flooded by the estuary. At first sight, agriculturally, the land would be useless to grow crops on or hold cattle. But the Romans noticed that anyone who took the time to drain the soil and build a sea defence would be rewarded with extremely fertile soil that's had years of deposited minerals from the estuary. Join us as we travel back over 2,000 years to when the Roman soldiers battled the tide to make the borrowed lands. So they set about building the largest sea defence system in Wales. The Goldcliff seawall is part of a Roman-built sea defence network which protects the Gwent lowlands. A vast area of vulnerable landscape on the north side of the Severn estuary.
Goldcliff is part of the lowlands, an area of vulnerable land that neighbours an estuary, with the second highest tide in the world. The seawall is part of a larger defence network that protects up to 2 miles of adjoining landscapes.
The Goldcliff area lies between Nash and Whitsun on Newport's eastern border. Handcrafted by the Romans and rebuilt by the Normans, they represent the most largest scale example of reclaimed land in Wales.
It was originally built by the Romans but fell into disrepair when they left around 486 AD. It was rebuilt by the Normans between 1070 and 1350. Under the guidance of the Benedictine monks. Although recent discoveries have shown settlements in the area for over 10,000 years, the area was a hotbed for fishing in the estuary, and the tool of the day for catching fish was a putcher. These baskets faced against the tide swallowed up the fish that passed through. If you visit the seawall now, you'll see evidence of the ancient fishing methods in a part of Newport that was once busy with fishermen. The massive tidal range from the Severn estuary threatens an area much further than the initial coast, and this can be seen by the huge amount of drainage canals and reens. Whilst primitive by modern day standards, the majority of the original drainage system can be seen protecting the landscape today. Fields are drained by low depressions running the width of the field. The water drains into the reens and toward the sea, where it is empty between tides. And this vast coastline of limestone rock, which glitters like gold to passing ships in the Severn estuary, is more relevant now than it was over 2,000 years ago. With climate change and rising sea levels, the borrowed lands relies on its seawall and canals daily to keep the salt water at bay.
Newport checks out Flossy and Boo's workshop with an environmentally friendly show called Ned and the Whale.
Formed in 2014, Flossy and Boo Creative Workshops has an ambition and vision to create innovative work. Brainchild of Anya Conti and Laura Jeffs, their work has them travelling nationally and internationally, scooping 5-star reviews along the way.
And Laura, guys, explain to me what's going on here.
Okay, well, we're in Big Splash this weekend doing, Ned and the Whale. It's our brand new show. We're really excited to be here, yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing our show. We've also been running workshops about recycled creatures because our show's got a bit of a environmental message going on as well. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing additional workshops, which has been really lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
All props are created using recycled materials. The show, Ned and the Whales, sees the audience up close as they take you on an environmentally conscious journey.
Music and the message of recycling together in one, do you?
Yeah, it's not done in a preachy way. It's done in a kind of really chilled out, really exciting, really family friendly.
Yeah, a bit more. We've gone for an imaginative route of talking about the dangers of sort of plastic in our oceans and things like that, rather than trying to be too, David Attenborough's doing a good job on his own, so we're doing our own version of it, basically. Biggest, loudest, crewiest style voice. Yeah, everyone understands? Aye, aye! Promise.